Welcome to Soft Bites Podcast, your life, your dentistry. We talk about ways to have more fun and meaning in one of the coolest and most rewarding professions in medicine. Conversations on how to bring awareness, create a healthy workplace, and provide emotional insights to make dentistry a fulfilling activity while making space for one's wonder, creativity, and freedom. Here are your hosts, Manuela and George Andre.
Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Soft Bites podcast. Hello Andre, how are you?
Hello, Manuel and Jasper. Lovely to have you here, both of you.
Today we have a very special guest, Jasper. I'm going to do a short introduction. I'm very happy to have Jasper here with us today because me and Jasper, we still didn't met in real life. We're going to meet soon. It was supposed to happen, but then because of COVID, I had COVID. We could not meet. But I don't know how long do we have been known each other? 2 years already.
2 years already, right?
Yeah.
We met through Diane Harris, and
Yeah,
it should be 2 years ago.
yeah. It's time flies. Okay, so let me introduce you. So Jasper graduated as a dentist in 2016. His main focus in dentistry is on restorative and reconstructive dentistry, digital smile design and digital workflow, orthodontics and implantology. Jasper is a renowned international speaker on a variety of dental meetings and symposia, and is connected as a trainer to post-academic education. Besides his work at the dental chair, he's also an author of a variety of dental magazines and a key opinion leader for a variety of well-respected dental companies. Jasper is one of the 5 founders of the online education movement Karma Dentistry. He's part-time rock star, is a guitar collector, a philanthropist, and so much more. Welcome, Jasper. I'm so happy to have you here with us, talking with us. We me and George Andrea, we talk about the other part of dentistry, not so much the technical part, but I know that that you guys at Karma Dentistry also integrate that part in your movement and in what you in your work. So thank you for accepting to be here with us and to have this conversation with us. And the first thing that I'm going to
The honor is all mine. It's a real pleasure.
Thank you. The first thing that I'm going to ask you is if you can share with us, why did you become a dentist? Because, for example, we in the J, we already talked about this here. I wanted to help people, but I knew from the start I didn't want my own practice. Andrea wanted to publish research, and for that he knew he had to have his own practice. What about you? What were your motivations? What were your dreams?
Wow. You know what? I wanted to be a dentist when I was only 8 years old. And the reason why is simply because my dad is a dentist, right? And when I was in children's school, we all had to do this lecture thing, and people are lecturing about the pyramids or about America as a country, right? And obviously, I did my lecture as a kid from 8 years old about dentistry. And I told them about, so this is a molar and this is an incisor. And from that point on, I always screamed to everybody I wanted to be a dentist. So from that point, all my choices in life from my high school were very easy, because I always had to choose the things that I had to do to become a dentist. And then I got into high school, and I really sucked at high school. Actually, I had bad grades, but I always screamed to everybody I wanted to be a dentist. And then eventually I got into dental school, and I started doing dentistry. And still, I was screaming to everybody I wanted to be a dentist. And until it was like 2013, and I started my dental education in 2005, I believe. So I was already 8 years at dental school, but it never got to me, right? The dentistry never grabbed me. It didn't matter for me. So I was starting companies, like totally different kind of stuff, while I was in dental school. I had a fashion company. I had a company in building websites for even for dentists actually. So I was doing all this kind of entrepreneur stuff while still in dental school, and it never got to me until 2013. And 2013, I was in the ISPRD in Boston, it's the International Symposium for Periodontal and Restorative Dentistry. And I saw these guys like Mauro Fadiani, Christian Coachman, Galip Gurel. They were showing dentistry as I have never seen it before, right? This was not the dentistry I saw at dental school. And for some reason, that grabbed me. I remember it very clearly. Like it was 2013. I was sitting in a room. Christian was showing his stuff, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is so awesome, right? This is the stuff that I want to do." And from that point on, it went very quickly. So in 2016, I was not a dental student anymore. I was graduated, so I was a fresh new dentist sitting in the audience. And I remember that I was sitting in the audience and I was looking to all the same lecturers, because more or less every lecturer that comes to the ISPRD is there every 3 years, right? And I recognized that I understood most of it that was lectured, which was different from the first time that I was there, because then I was just still a dental student and I loved what was being presented there. But I didn't understand what they were doing, right? I didn't have the proper knowledge. So that was 2016. 2019, I had done my first national lecture. And now it's 2022, and next week we go to ISPRD again for the fourth time. And we are working with Karma with like a lot of the speakers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that blows my mind every day of the week, right? It's just the fact that from 2013, that was the pinnacle. That was my starting point in dentistry. From that point, I started to love it, and I still do every day. So that's how I became a dentist. I never wanted to be a dentist. When I look back to it now, I always did it because my dad was a dentist. But something had to happen to get me into it, right?
And you just mentioned karma, and you I think I heard you. I read somewhere you define it like an online educational movement. Can you tell us what's exactly what karma is, how it started, and how it's evolved?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we started doing lectures about restorative dentistry, composites, etc. So the Netherlands is a very small country. So obviously, people who are lecturing in the Netherlands, everybody knows each other. Like it's a very small community who are doing all the trainings and all the lectures. And some of these guys, like all the very very young guys, we are friends together because we see each other at every symposia and every dental meeting. And at one day, I was asked to design a composite course for a company. And a buddy of mine, Freek, also was asked to do the same composite course. And they said, okay, you have to design this composite course, but it has to be very, very different from the rest. And we were just like, it's a composite course, right? It's still dental composite. How different can it be? And then we found out that Maarten was doing the same thing, and Erik Jan was doing the same thing, and Mart was doing the same thing, but all for different companies. So that was the moment that Freek and I said, this is weird. Why we are going to compete to each other while we are friends and we are more or less sharing the same knowledge to everybody. Why don't we do it together? And that was actually a pretty good idea because I'm 36 years old. I have two little kids, right? The youngest one is turning 2 in 2 weeks. And the oldest one is 4.5. So it's kind of messy and busy here at home. So being a young father and buying a house and getting married is very mandatory on your personal life, right? And dentistry can be very busy as well. So to find balance in those two is crazy difficult. And every time we think we have it under control, something changes and it collapses the whole balance. But I was just discussing this with Freek. So yeah, but why don't we do this together? And Freek said that's a pretty good idea. So then we went to Maarten and to Erik Jan and to Mart. And we explained them the idea, and they say, this is very good, but there's one problem. We have to do something that is not very doctor-like. Like when you are lecturing, you want to be on the biggest stage in the world, and you want to showcase your biggest cases and the most beautiful photography, etc. Right? You want to be the top monkey. So the thing that we had to do is just to leave that ego side for what it is and try to do it really together, right? To share everything that we have together. And we did some coaching, some meditation, mediation in this, and just to see if we can find a way to do it really together. And this process was all pre-COVID. And at one point we say, let's do it, right? We think this is a good idea because it should give us more time at home, which is the place to be, right? I'm the happiest person when I'm at home. And then COVID happened. And in the Netherlands, we had two big dental associations. And then COVID happened. People are scared, they didn't know what to do. We had to close the practices. And what happened is that both associations, they started fighting with each other. Just in a time where they had to be there for their people, right? As a board, they had to stand up and say, okay, guys, we're going to be fine. This is how we are going to do it. Now they actually started to fight with each other. And we said, there's so much negativity going on. Like we have to do something. And that's when we decided to record podcasts and just call friends and say, people that we consider good dentists or that we find very inspirational or that we look up to as young dentists. We're just calling them and say, what drives you? What's making dentistry a happy profession for you, right? And the funny thing is, we collected a lot of personal stories with this, and this was really cool because there was a lot of positivity in this. And then from that point, Karma started to hit off because we had a lot of attention, not only in the Netherlands or Belgium and Germany, but also so we went all over the globe actually, and we started to call other people that we find very inspirational. We started just to email Christian and Amaro. And they say, yeah, we are happy to collaborate because the whole world was in the same problem at that point, right? Everybody was scared, didn't know what to do. And we just started to talk with each other from a very positive mindset. And that was crazy because I just told you the story from the ISPRD. And suddenly we were just like the same as we are now on a podcast recording this. I was doing this with my real idols, like people that I really look up onto. And we did this for I think 4 months, something like that. Just before summer, we talked to each other. Say, we have this momentum now. We have all this attention. If we want this to be a very durable platform, we have to step back a little, rethink our organization. Let's see what we can do and how we can bring this attention and positive mindset to as many people as possible, and especially young dentists in the Netherlands. Because in the Netherlands, we have a problem and it's called fixed pricing. So that means that if I'm doing a filling, it's one price per filling. Doesn't matter if you do it in 10 minutes or in 2 hours. I like to do it in 2 hours with all little increments and little coloration. Like it's a hobby. I love to do that. But that will cost me money if I do it. So it's a crazy system. There is a positive side to it because it makes healthcare accessible to a lot of people, right? Even people who can't afford it, but it also makes sure that there's no dental excellence because there's a boundary. So one of the things that we are seeing is that if people are graduating from dental school, they have 6 years of school, right? And I know for a fact that when I was graduated, I was a shitty dentist. I couldn't do anything right, especially when I look back now, because I started photographing all my work. And when I look back now, I'm just looking to these pictures. Oh my God, right? What have I done to these people? And what we see now is that people are graduating. They think they know everything. They started to work as hard as possible to do as many procedures as possible just because it generates a bigger income. So it's mainly money driven and production driven instead of quality driven. And taking in consideration that we have not, there's less and less dentists coming into the field, this is really starting to be a problem. So if you want to change this, and I just before we had this podcast, I had a really cool conversation with Markus Trosch from Germany, and we were discussing like a project that we are doing. It's about general medicine for dentists and understanding of general medicine for dentists. And if you want to apply those concepts in general dentistry in the Netherlands with our system, then the motivation to do it to your patients has to come within, because it will cost money, right? This was the difficult part about about graduating in dentistry, because there's only one truth, and that's what you have learned on university. So what we wanted to do is to show people high quality dentistry, and then there's another way, right? There's another world. There's so many great people out there doing such amazing stuff. And we try to get this moment that I had in 2013 in Boston to as much people as possible, right? And what we really find really cool is that there are so many people who said, yes, of course we are going to do this. Like people that we really look upon to. Everybody that we asked said, yes, we love this. We want to get this to as much people as possible. The whole project, the whole platform, everything is funded by ourselves. Actually, it costs us a lot of money, but it's worth it, because like the stories that we get back now from 2.5 years of work is, for us, mind blowing, because we know for a fact that the moments that we experienced in Boston or at other places, people have the same moments now. And that's really cool, because then you're making dentistry better from the inside instead of money driven or whatever. And this is also how this whole Karma on Tour came about.
Yeah, I was about to ask you that. I was about to ask you how that the Karma Tour idea, how did it come up, and what can you say about what are the new ideas for this year? So can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, so when this whole thing was happening and we were starting all this collaboration with a lot of people, then we were talking to each other. So, like we have to get this awesome dentistry, like because we work with smiles on our face because we love what we are doing. We want to have this awesome dentistry to people as soon as possible, which is in dental school, because I can remember every representative from every company that I saw in my last year in dental school. And there's a good reason behind it, because at that point in your dental career, you are very susceptible to every kind of information that you get, because you're about to become a dentist and you have no idea how it works in the real world, right? So you get everything that you get around, and every company that you see, you will remember it. So that's why we said, we have to get out there. So we started to contact the universities, and they were kind of a little bit scared, because why are these guys coming by, And then we said, you know what, we are not going to ask them. We are just going there. So then we hired this party bus, and the party bus has it's really cool. It has flamethrowers on the roof. It has like a big subwoofer in the back. It's a real party bus, but we transformed it into a lecturing bus with a lot of screens, and we can do presentations in that. So we drove to every university in the Netherlands and in Belgium just to provide free lectures. And we did a congress as well for just every dental professional. And the most important part, and that was actually the product of this whole project, was a small after movie. Because this 15 minutes that we recorded went to so many places around the world. To us, it's mind blowing, but it changed a lot of stuff for a lot of people, and it has to do about like getting high quality dentistry to dental students as soon as possible. And I'm not saying that they are not learning this at university, because they do, right? That's the funny thing. Like everybody's always complaining about university and how you don't learn anything at university. But when I was freshly graduated, I can clearly remember I had this ortho case, and I recognized, okay, this is an ortho case, but I cannot place it in context, right? So what I did, I went to to all my summaries that I always made for all the tests. And I went into my ortho summaries, and I said, "Oh yeah, it's right there, right?" And I have done this like a few years later. I've done this again. I went through all my summaries and all the stuff that I always complained about. So I have never learned this at dental university. How dare they not teach me this, right?
Everything was
But
there.
they did.
Yeah.
They did teach me that, but I was
Mhm.
not present enough at their
Exactly.
point in time
Exactly.
to remember it and to get it to me,
Mhm.
right? And that's the paradigm shift. At one point in time, there should be like this open mindset, and from that point, you start collecting information.
Mhm.
And on the other hand, I'm still learning to this day, right? I'm perfectly comfortable in almost doing every dental procedure myself, from ortho to implantology to perio. But still, I'm learning. Even like 1 hour ago, I had a lecture from Marcus. I'm still learning, and this learning curve is it's just plain fun. It's really cool to do so. So we wanted to get us to the university. So then we drove with the bus, and we had a lot of cool, yeah, with so many good reactions. So we are doing it again this year. We're also extending it to Germany and to Italy. So we are going on a tour. Yeah.
All right.
And by going on a tour, and I'm yeah, I play in a rock band. I used to play some heavy metal bands. I collect guitar, so as I was one of the project coordinators, of course, we had an Iron Maiden logo, and we made it a real rock and roll tour bus, right?
Mhm. Uh,
Which was cool. Yeah.
And so you are adding Germany and Italy this year. So you're going to do
Yep.
Holland, Belgium,
Yep.
German, and Italy.
Yep.
That's cool. That's cool. I'll make sure to put the links of not only of the video that you mentioned, but also the links of the Karma tour of this year on the podcast notes. Um, uh, just to finish this part about karma, and you already mentioned before, and I also really like on the website you have karma stands for dentistry as it should be. So tell me, what does this mean in a practical way? So what are your values, and
Yeah.
how do you practice these values in your normal dental clinic day?
It's a good question. And I try to answer it without swearing, because it basically means that you have to have balls to do your dentistry right.
That's
Right?
very nice.
It takes some serious balls in the Netherlands to do dentistry right. Because first of all, you have to be vulnerable, but you have been told at the dental school that you cannot be vulnerable. You are the doctor, you decide, you know what's best, right? But the more I learn to this day, the more I realize that I have no clue what I am doing. There's so much stuff that I have known nothing about. To do a dental procedure right, if you look at literature, like take biomedical dentistry as an example, right? Biomedical dentistry is a term that is in heavy discussion, and I like to discuss a lot of it because you know biomedical dentistry is about doing additive dentistry right. Right, using the right bonding techniques, using the right techniques to bond to different kind of substrates, to do direct, indirect restorations in the right way, all scientifically driven. However, there's a point in where there's no clinical significance in it, right? And that's also finding balance in what should you do and what should you not do. But to learn this, it takes so much time and effort and practice to do it the right way. So that seriously means that it will cost you a lot of time. It will cost you a lot of money. It will also cost you a lot of frustration when it doesn't work, right? This is the thing that we stand for, just to make sure that you are learning step by step by step. You're getting there, but you have to know what you are doing. So as I just told you, like I'm pretty comfortable in doing every dental procedure myself, and I did a lot of learning. I'm investing 30 to 40,000 euros every year in my own education, and the more I do that, the more comfortable I get in my daily practice, because I see stuff and I'm not going to do everything myself. I don't want to do it because I have some amazing specialists in my clinic, right? I seriously don't want to do that, but I want to see it. I want to understand it. I want to guide it, because like restorative dentistry is not about doing everything yourself. It's not about doing the 28 veneer cases. It's about direction, right? It's about guidance. It's about holistic views. If you have an holistic view, an overview, not only about the teeth, but about the jaws, not only about the head, but about the human body and the way the human body functions, um, that's what restorative dentistry is about, right? You have to guide a patient through a process where they are getting better. You're providing healthcare. You're not performing a trick. If I want to perform a trick, I go work in a circus, right, or do some other stuff. We have a um, university grade education. We are trained. We should be trained to step out, zoom out, and see the whole point. And for some reason, we don't do that. And I seriously asked myself why. And the reason why is because it takes balls to do it. It takes money, time, effort, and frustration. But when you're getting there, it gets so comfortable that it also generates so much more time for you to be home and to be like a nice dad. I don't want to be the dad that comes home and starts screaming at my children when I'm because I had a shitty day at work. Of course, I have shitty days at work. Everybody has shitty days at work. But now when I'm come home, I have done a lot of things in dentistry, and I'm loving it. Right, it's a hobby, which is also a danger when dentistry becomes a hobby. Right, you have to make sure there are boundaries. If you have to place boundaries, okay, here's my boundary to dentistry. From that point, I'm at home. My kids don't care about me being a dentist. No, they want me to be Optimus Prime when I come home, right? They want to fight with me and to have a laugh, and they don't care that I'm a dentist,
That's
right? And I think that's the whole
I
point.
really like the way that you summarized it. That to good dentists, you just have to have balls, and the problems they are in a way very different in each country, but in another way they are very similar. In the Netherlands, you were talking about the limitations that you
Express.
have that with fixed prices. In Portugal, we have an excess of professionals. In other countries, they have X or Z. So it's I completely agree with you. It really takes balls to do dentistry that is not, I wouldn't say it elitist, but it's decent and dentistry that you like to do on your own family. So it takes balls to do
Yeah.
that. It really does. And I really like the way that you summarize that. And tell me something else. What is rock and roll dentistry? How did that concept came about?
Good question. Good question. I always, like every lecture that I do, I always put it in this rock and roll dentistry concept. And the reason why I did this is because there's an Australian band, and it's called Airborne. I have to tell you the whole story about
Okay.
this. I think it's really cool. I have a good friend, my best friend actually, Jan. And Jan is he's a uh, uh, how do you call it? Like a physician? Yeah, general
Yeah.
physician.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he is, when he was younger, he played in a hardcore metal band.
Hmm.
Like he was the guy with long hair, screaming his lungs out, like this really hard guy, right? But now he has like two dogs, three really nice kids, like a beautiful wife. Like he is like the most decent guy I know. Like if you guys would see him on the street, you say, okay, this guy's really boring. But he used to be like the singer in this hardcore metal band. So we always go to metal concerts and hard rock concerts. And we were standing there on a festival, and it was called Rock. And there was a band playing, and it's called Airborne. So Airborne is an Australian band, and it's more or less like an AC/DC kind of band,
Hmm.
right? And we were just standing. I knew the band a little bit, so I listened to it before. I said, it's cool, right? It's a hard rock band. And we were just standing there in front of the stage. So these guys were starting to rock out like crazy, like, and this whole crowd was going crazy, and he was just standing there like silent. And I knocked him, so dude, are you okay? He turned around and he shed a tear. I said, what's up, right? And he said, dude, this is the most brilliant thing I've seen in a very, very long time. And we talked about this, why this was happening. And this all had to do with authenticity. Because this band, it's so easy. They have like an amplifier, a cable, and a guitar. That's it. And if they are playing hard, it comes from themselves. It's not about effects or very expensive amplifiers or very expensive guitars. No, it's an old shitty guitar with a cable and a very loud Marshall hard rock amp. And it's really authentic if you see it. And this is also what grabbed us, right? And since then, it's our favorite band. So this same band, Airborne, has a documentary, and I really highly recommend it to look at it, because they are showing their touring live, like going from venue to venue to venue and performing. And the lead singer, Joel O'Keefe, at one point he says, like, if you want to become like a rock and roll band, a successful hard rock artist, you have to do 3 things. Take no bullshit, don't compromise, and don't be afraid to take a helping hand.
That's very nice.
Like, and I was looking at it, I said, that's not hard rock, that's dentistry in its broadest sense, right? And that's this little thing always got to me. And I saw this documentary, I think 3 weeks prior to doing my first big lecture. So I put this in. The whole lecture that I prepared was like very high tech dentistry stuff, and beautiful photography and that kind of stuff. But I did this whole lecture. I threw it away. I made another hard rock lecture. So I was able to put AC/DC in a big room full of kind of boring dentists, and they absolutely loved it. So from that point on, I always put everything in rock and roll dentistry, because with these values, like take no bullshit, don't compromise, and don't be afraid to take a helping hand. But most and foremost, be authentic, like be yourself. Please don't be anybody else in a chair or beside a dental chair than you are. Like these are my core values, because when I'm staying true to these values, my dentistry is actually pretty easy.
And you're happy,
right? That's it. Like I had this discussion last week with one of the dentists that works in my clinic, and I said, so how come that I have my acceptance rate in treatment planning is a little near 100%. Like everybody goes with the treatment plan no matter what. And they asked me, so how do you do this? Because like they had an acceptance rate of 50%. Like 50% of people say, yeah, I understand it, but it's expensive, don't do it. And I told them, so how do you do that? And I say, I'm sitting in a chair and the patient is in the chair and we are discussing the treatment plan and I'm showing them the x-rays and I'm explaining, and this is what dentists always do, right? They have the skill and they have the bite, we raise the bite, we go vertical, etc. People don't understand this kind of stuff. Like it looks silly. It really does. So I said, you know what? So what I do, I always make like a lot of photographs. I draw lines to it. I try to explain to children how dentistry works. And I always have this little plastic skull on the side of my computer. And I show them, like, this is your face, right? With the retractors. And I said, this is your face. This is the basic human skull. I try to compare those. And I explain them like basic restorative treatment planning, like going from gnatology to moving jaws all the way to perhaps doing veneers. It's pretty easy if you approach it from that way, and people are able to understand what you want to do, right? And then I showed him this on the X-ray. But most and foremost, I'm sitting there just the way I'm sitting here now, with my smelly T-shirt, my Nikes, and my jeans on a desk that's somewhat organized, but mainly messy with models and all other kind of stuff. Because that's who I am. That's what I do, right? And in the end, people don't go with your treatment plan because it's an amazing treatment plan. They go with your treatment plan because they want to go with you. If they don't know you and they don't understand you, they won't go with you.
Of course.
I have a guitar hanging on the wall in my office, and it's the best selling thing that I can do, because it always gets me into a in a conversation that's not about dentistry. It's about me being a person, like playing guitar and loving rock music. We have put like album covers in every single treatment room, from the Beatles to Genesis to Peter Gabriel to all this kind of old rock music bands. And we have so many times that people coming in, they are anxious, they don't want to go to the dentist, they are not sleeping for 2 weeks because they know they have to come to you, and they come in the chair and they say, "Hey, Genesis," like, and it's gone, it's immediately gone. It's beautiful. And why? Is because then it gives them something about you. It's not about dentistry. And like explaining this treatment plan, first of all, as yourself, and then you explain it to them that they can actually understand this. What you want to do and how much it will cost doesn't even matter anymore. Like, never. It never has. It's a very basic concept. I'm not sure if I have the book right here, but it's the Golden Circle from Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
You know, Start with
Yeah.
Why. It's a marketing
Yeah.
book. I highly recommend everybody to read it, because it's not only about marketing. It's about everything that you see in life and what you do in life. It becomes so clear, I guess. Right, when my iPhone breaks, I go to the Media Markt, to a place where I can buy iPhones. I'm not even considering buying a Samsung or a Huawei or whatever. Even if they are better, I will buy an iPhone, right? And there's a whole marketing strategy, and there's a way why Apple choose this. And you can perfectly apply this to every single step in your dental clinic in dentistry, and it's making dentistry pretty easy, actually.
I understand.
Yeah.
So you mentioned there. By the way, I completely agree with that approach. I think it's and actually, me and Manuel, we discuss a lot of some of this stuff in the podcast, and it's true. You have to feel that you are yourself, and you have to be the most authentic as it can be, because otherwise, everyone else is basically the same. And you were mentioning music, right? So tell us a little bit how music shaped your life and the way that you see dentistry. How did you start to be connected to music, and how that connection was brought to dentistry?
Yeah, music is something different, man. It can really grab you in a way that's special. But I'm at a point now. I know this sounds really cliche, but I love all kinds of music.
Of course.
I can listen to Gary Moore, to Stevie Ray Vaughan, and like very good blues players, and they really grab me. Like, I feel this. I understand what they want to try to say on a guitar. And on the other hand, I can also listen to Metallica, to Slayer, and they like, the purpose of this music is very different, right? They have different goals with their music. And they all do this, so they talk different languages. So I always love this, like, this discussions between guitar players and musicians about their kind of music, right? Because there's no, you can never win a discussion in this.
Of course.
Because they are totally talking different languages, because the music and the purpose of this music is totally different. By listening to different kind of music, I learned a lot about life, I guess. Right? Because I'm listening to music now that when I was a teenager, I hated it. I clearly remember like listening to all these old rock bands from like Yes and Rush, and my dad was always playing this, and I was like, all this yingly yangly stuff. Please give me Metallica, right? As hard as let's go for it. And now I'm listening to this stuff that my dad listened to. I said, this is pretty good, actually, right? And sometimes I send my dad something, and he said, "Yeah, well, why are you listening to this? I've always thought that you hated it, right?" So that's also evolving. It's synonymous to life, I guess. And also one other thing that I that I learned a lot from music, and especially playing music, is doing lectures. Because when I was younger, I always wanted, like Airborne, like this big Marshall wall, like amplifiers, like hard. I wanted to have 12 Marshalls on stage to be loud, right? And all these effects and all these guitars. And at one point, I was gigging with a band, and I had, I'm not joking, I had 10 guitars on the side of the stage. I had 4 amplifiers simultaneously running, and I had it all mapped out in the studio. So then I knew for this song I used this amplifier, this effect, and this guitar. A lot about how U2, for instance, does their music. And it was crazy stuff because every performance, every gig that I did with that band, everything broke down. Always. Like, seriously, always. So at one point, I it got me frustrated because I had no overview on what was happening. So then I totally sold the whole rig. Now I have one amplifier, two guitars, and one pedal. And in the pedal, everything is programmed. And when something goes wrong, I know exactly where it is. Right? I have been enjoying all my performances with a guitar on stage with this new setup so much more than with my old setup because I'm in control. I'm prepared. I'm in control. I know my stuff. I know what to play. I know what to do when something goes wrong. Like, I'm comfortable being there. And with comfortable being there, you can enjoy every single minute being on stage, which is an awesome thing to do. Like, this is the same with dentistry, but also with lecturing, right? If I'm doing a lecture, the first lectures that I did, I made movies because I had this big congress, big screen, and I had 30 minutes, and there was so much stuff that I wanted to talk about. This is my thing, right? And when I start talking, then I'm getting enthusiastic about stuff, and I can get stories about rock music for 3 hours long. It's no problem. But I didn't have 3 hours. I had 30 minutes. So what I did, I made a movie because in this movie, I had to go. I orchestrated everything from minute 1 to minute 30, and I was fully prepared. So I was really comfortable in doing this because I just pushed play. I was pretty sure this movie would play on because my laptop was at the audio video desk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just played a movie and I talked about my movie. It was pretty easy to do until the point that I got into a congress about orthodontics. And I think at that point, I had finished like 12 aligner cases. And I had to talk about restorative dentistry, like conventional ortho that we did much more, and also little bit about aligners. So I said, yeah, of course, I'd love to do that, no problem. But then I found out like the whole room was filled with orthodontists. And then suddenly I was not comfortable anymore. So all my audio, video, lecturing was all organized, but I was not comfortable being there. And that's something that I learned. I learned a lot about in music as well. I've played in a jazz combo once with a heavy metal setup. So I was there playing like the very fast licks, but I was not comfortable being in that surrounding in music. And it was exactly the same situation while being in a room filled with orthodontists. And then you're back at and it starts, oh, they want to kill you, right? And they don't because they are more than happy that you are providing them with a nice lecture. But you're not, I was not comfortable there. So all these kind of things that I am experiencing in dentistry and lecturing and courses, etc. More or less, I have experienced the same things with my music and my bands, and I love playing with my bands because when I'm out there doing a gig and I'm in a cafe or something, right? And then it's never about Jasper the dentist. It's always about Jasper the guitar player, and it's a totally different
Mm-hmm.
world. And I loved it. I really love it. Yeah.
And tell me something. For you, what do you enjoy more in music? Is it the melody, the sounds, or is it the which is connected to the technical skills of the player because you're a musician, or is it like the lyrics and the message? Because for me, something that happens to me, and I love music. Sometimes, there's a song that I actually don't like, or that I don't like the style, I don't like the lyrics, but there's 10 seconds on the intro or on the end, there's this beat that I love, and I just keep completely focused on that part, and I love it. So for me, music is really about some sounds that really get into me. It's
Yeah.
How does it work for you?
I have exactly the same thing, right? Well, it changed on me. I have to be, it changed on me. So when I was younger, we always tried to do it as hard and as
Yeah,
fast as
yeah,
possible, right? Because that was the thing. If you the faster you play guitar, like the more
yeah.
awesome it was. So then we got into Dream Theater, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, all these guys. I learned all these licks and playing it, and only later I started listening to like blues music,
Mm-hmm.
like Clapton can do,
Mm-hmm.
like two notes and grab you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's
And
it.
I've always wondered why. What is this? For some reason, it grabs you. And there's a theory about this. And a colleague of us, Anne, he told me this theory, and I loved it. So you cannot see it actually, but like the closet over there is like filled with guitars. This backside here of the room I have around 50 guitars hanging in the room.
Mm-hmm.
When I have a shitty day and I come home, I walk into the room and I gravitate to a guitar. It's almost always a different one, and I've never understood why. And I know for some guitars I can play different kind of music easier on. So I have this white Stratocaster, which is all John Mayer kind of
Mm-hmm.
vibe, and I also have like the Les Paul, and then we go Gary Moore kind of vibe, and I also some metal guitars, and then I'm going to play Metallica. And this is something that I do unconscious. So I'm walking in, taking guitar, plugging it in, turning the amplifier on, and I just start playing. I just have to let it out. For me, it works really therapeutical. But I never understood why I would gravitate to a certain kind of instrument. And then Anne told me the story about like resonation, because your cells, your body
Mm-hmm.
resonates, right? And emotions
Yes.
make sure that you resonate
Yes.
to a certain kind of
Yes.
level. So when you are in a different kind of emotional state, you gravitate to a piece or a person, or more or less an environment that gravitates with that certain kind of vibe. This can be guitars, this can be people, but this can also be music,
Mm-hmm.
right? If I and I know when I have like so my kid was sick a few weeks ago for like a week. I haven't slept for a week, and I had also difficult kind of procedures. And I remember I was in the car on Friday driving to the clinic, and I was, oh my god, I have slept 10 hours in the last week, right?
Yeah.
I'm devastated.
Yeah.
And I know exactly which kind of music I have to put on to get me
I
going again,
understand. Yeah.
right? Because you can
Feel
actually
it.
you can use it to yeah, some kind of monopolize your emotional state, right?
And for example,
And
I don't know
that's something
how it is
that
to
I find
you,
really good.
even to you, Manuel, but for me, if I like a song, I almost loop it to exhaustion. I almost loop it to.
Yeah,
Does it work the same with you? Because sometimes I can hear to the
yeah.
same music. I mean, not exactly a loop, but for days, I can be completely grabbed with some specific mesmerizing sound that someone plays in the music. You know,
And it stays in
it
your head,
stays in your head.
right?
It stays
I
in
always,
your head.
there are certain kind of songs like "Brother in Arms" from Dire Straits.
Yes,
You can
Brothers in
actually,
Arms, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I have a really nice sound system. You can sit in a chair, listen to the song, and you can almost step into the
Mm-hmm.
song. You can sit into the song, and everything happens around you, and it's the most beautiful thing,
Yeah.
right? That's the mesmerizing thing about music.
Yeah, how a combination
And
of different sounds provokes such huge emotion, and that's what sometimes it's not the message in itself what he's saying, but you can almost understand the emotion through the sounds. I don't know if it makes sense to you, but from that,
yeah,
that's something that really resonates with me. It's something like I can understand what this person is feeling, or it provokes in me a certain feeling that I completely understand and I feel close to, just because some few notes placed together is some specific sequence. And that's just
exactly.
magical, isn't it? How our nervous
It
system
is.
responds to that in such an emotional way.
It is, and it's exactly the reason why I love Gary Moore so much. Gary Moore is my all-time favorite guitar player, and not because of his technical skills. Because obviously, he's a very technical, talented player. Not so much about his songwriting, because they are good songs, but yeah, not
Yeah.
outstanding or special. But the way he can play notes on a guitar, like speaking to you,
Yes.
in combination with the
Of
song, right?
course.
So you have like "Empty Rooms" is a song, That's about divorce. And if you hear him play, he's almost crying on stage playing this stuff. And oh man, it gives you
Yeah.
goosebumps. Same goes with Parisian Walkways. He has this one tone that he gets, like it's absolutely
Yeah.
mesmerizing. I have like Gary Moore he died a few years ago, and I was a dental student at the time. I was starting to collect guitars a little bit, but when he died, his whole guitar collection went to auction to Sotheby's. I believe it was Sotheby's. And Sotheby's, you can like put in, say, okay, I want to buy it for maximum €5,000, right? Which at the time I was still a dental student. I didn't have the
Yeah.
money, but I said, hey, if I can get a guitar from Gary Moore, and it was a specific guitar, Gibson Les Paul, with Gary Moore on the cover, like, and there were a few hundred of these guitars getting sold, but I said, if I can get this guitar, it will be my sanctuary, right? Um, and eventually the guitar got sold for €5,300. So I've always said that I almost had a real guitar from Gary Moore.
You never know. You may still
And
get one in
still,
the future. You never know.
Yeah.
obviously, no, absolutely, like, and it's the most iconic guitar. Greenie has been sold for $4 million, so I'm pretty good about that. But you know what? I've always seen this as something from, I wish I had this guitar. But now, like a few years later, I come to realize that it's possibly one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I still have something to look upon to. It's also really good to not have stuff,
Mhm.
Of course,
right?
to be minimal.
To be very comfortable with. I mean, not have stuff. I don't get me wrong. I have like 50 guitars in the room here.
Uh-huh.
My guitar collection is totally getting out of hand and almost got me 3 times in a divorce. But anyway, no, but it's really good to don't have. Sometimes don't have
Yeah.
it, right? Yeah.
Just to finish this the subject about music, and you were talking about how music can shape your emotions. So what you guys listen when you are working in the chair? Do you choose your own music? Do you let your patient choose? Do you have it's depends on your mood? Jasper, Andre, what do you choose when you are working on the
Well,
chair? Does
I
some
have
clinics have a uh, the same sound for everyone? I don't know.
I
How do you
understand.
work?
Oh,
Mainly we have a very chilled out, smooth jazz kind of
Uh-huh.
background, right? It's more soul, a little bit, yeah, more soul classics and jazz, because it also gets people easy and relaxed. I used to work in a clinic before, and they always had this pumping house music out, right? That was not about healthcare. It wasn't like going to the dresser.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that actually, and we noticed that people were actually getting pumped into the chair, and I don't want people to get pumped in the chair. I
Mm-hmm.
want them to be comfortable and relaxed, because they have to finish a surgery for 2 hours. So we always go for relaxed jazz music, but sometimes, when the conversation goes there, we always let people choose what they want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I had a guy coming in, and he was really, really anxious. He was wearing this Avenged Sevenfold T-shirt, which
Mm-hmm.
is a very harsh metalcore band. I said, "Oh, nice man, I love that. I love that album." I was looking at me, so, "You're a dentist. You're not allowed to listen to hard music." I said, "No, I love it. He had Mike Portnoy on the drums, right? He has this Nightmare T-shirt. Is he had Mike Portnoy on the drums? It was an awesome album." Yeah, yeah, it really was. I say, you want me to put it on? I say, do you have it? He said, of course. So I put it on like really loud. People coming in. So is everything okay? Right? What's happening here? But this guy was immediately relaxed.
Relaxed. Yeah.
Right? You can use this. These are so simple tricks to get people relaxed in a dental chair. We try to use this in every aspect of our clinic. The visit to a dental clinic starts from the moment that people park their car. So the parking lot should be clean. Like there should be no, I don't know, like needles lying on the
Mm-hmm.
floor when they come to your dental clinic, because then it's a negative start. So everything that they are encountering, people sitting in the desk, saying welcome, nice that you are here, trying to be on time, right? Yeah, all these
Mm-hmm.
little steps are contributing to a dental
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
And music is a very, very important
Mm-hmm.
one of
Mm-hmm.
them.
well, I have to say
So
that.
we try to
Sorry,
put
I have to
attention.
say that for me, um, we have the playlist in the practice, and it's pretty much music that I like.
So you make the playlist.
So basically, if a patient wants to ask me for, I was recently talking to a DJ, and it was like, well, DJs, we always get asked like, oh, can you play this music? Can you play this? So for example, there's a guy, a friend that works in Porto, and sometimes there's a group of Spanish, they come, or French, all drunk, and they say, well, can't you play this? Can't you play reggaeton? Can't you play this? And I was like, well, sometimes it's tough to be a DJ, and I have to say, I have the same attitude. If I'm doing something I need to be focused and I'm to be on the floor, I just choose the playlist for me. And which tends to attract people like you to the practice. But I understand it's a little bit, sometimes I think it's better to focus on of course, the music that I like and that I play is not, it's not to make them more anxious, but even still, and but I also listen to a wide range of musical styles from 70s, 80s, and so on. But
it's cool that you can actually influence
yes,
people's emotions and
exactly,
feelings in a dental chair with sounds,
and you know
right?
what? While you are singing them,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'm not a good singer, of course, but sometimes I just go along with the lyrics. And for them, they at the end they say, "Well, it's really soothing and relaxing to hear you so comfortable singing this song, and it's really interesting."
Yeah.
But I try to
But ima-
I try to adapt it more or less
no,
to
but
the
imagine
paintings.
you being on the other side of the chair, right? If you are in a dental
Yeah.
chair, and the only thing in life at that point is to make sure that the dentist is comfortable with the procedure that they are going to do,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because you're lying there,
Yes.
you have nothing to say, right? And if somebody is like relaxed doing their stuff, even singing with music, it gives a good
Yes.
feeling,
Exactly.
right? Because then it gives the feeling, okay, this guy knows what he's talking
Exactly.
about.
That's it. That's usually what happens to me. That is usually what happens to me. Exactly. And yes, but the playlist, Manuela and me, we had a podcast which is like, what's more important? Is it the staff or the patients? Who should give more priority? And I always believe that my team is more important than my patients. Of course, it's not that simple, but I need to have a good team before. I need to please my team before. I wouldn't say it's one or the other, but one has a priority over the other. There's a sequence that I need to please my team, and then we can please
Yeah,
other patients. So it's for me with the same with music. I need to like it first, and hopefully they will like it as well. You can adapt in terms of the beat, but it's something that yes, I want to like it, and if I like it, then I'm in a good mood. And if I'm in a good mood, they can feel that good mood energy, which works much better than if I place a song that they like, but because I'm not, they will feel like this insecurity or this bad energy because
yeah.
they feel everything. Dentistry, there's something that you cannot hide how you are feeling with patients because they feel everything. They really connect to you in
Yeah,
a
but they feel the they feel the positive energy.
absolutely.
That's the whole thing. It's about sound, music. It's about how you look out of your eyes. Like when I had a heavy weekend and I come on Monday with little eyes and they look at me, oh my god, this guy has not sleep. That's not positive energy,
Yes.
right? And that's not the thing that I want to see as a patient. And I fully agree with you on the staff subject because I need my staff to do good dentistry. Right? Then dentistry is a team effort.
Yes.
It's never about the dentist itself. So we do publish a lot in dental magazines, and when we are showcasing a dental case, we have a rule in the clinic. It's always about us. Like we did this. We placed veneers. We did preparations. We looked through a microscope. I'm looking through the microscope, but we look through the
I
microscope
understand.
because dentistry is always a team effort,
Yes.
right? And if my team is not aligned with me or with my values, what I want to do in this procedure, then the outcome will always be bad,
Yeah.
right? And so I fully agree with team first, and I need the team to get to the second stage, which is patients.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yes, but
And
you have to
Yeah,
get you have that ground. Yeah.
yeah.
And how do you inspire your coworkers and your employees and colleagues in doing a great job in dentistry? You talked about being yourself, the power of being vulnerable, human connection. Is that what you bring to your team, to your clinics? Is that how you inspire them to?
Well, well, mainly playing heavy metal music in the breaks, but no, um, no, just maybe, you know, I'm I'm pretty comfortable with who I am as a person.
Yeah,
They should as
yeah,
well, and shit happens to
yeah,
everybody. So to me as well, to my coworkers as well, to my colleagues as well. And the most important thing is to talk about this
Hmm.
and to share values.
Hmm.
yes.
Hmm.
Like sometimes I care about something and I have to explain to them why I care about it. They can agree or disagree, but they can never disagree with any kind of emotion. That's the
Hmm.
beautiful
Can
part,
you say
right?
that again?
If
Sorry,
you feel
that's very interesting.
you can never disagree with an emotion. If somebody is sad, I cannot say I disagree with the fact that you are sad. I can disagree with the factors that make you sad. That I can disagree on, but not the fact that you are sad. So when I have like a tough time, or most of the time I have a very happy time, I like to share it with them, right? And they do it with me as well, and that gets us all pretty aligned. So we sometimes when you have like a patient coming in at 5 o'clock, like everybody has his jacket on, wants to go home. There's almost never any discussion, and okay, who's gonna stay? Because they will stay.
Hmm.
There's no discussion because sometimes it's the other way around. That's what team dentistry is all
No,
about.
but
Like we have examples here in the neighborhood from dentists and assistants who have separated lunches.
yes,
Like they have
I
separate
understand what you mean.
tables.
Makes no sense.
And no, no, it doesn't, because then say, so I'm the dentist. You have to do what I tell you to
Yeah,
do, right? And I mean, we expect a lot from our dental assistants, and we train them a lot. We give them a lot, but we also expect a lot from them. I want them to be like 100%
yeah,
there. Like we share the same village, we share the same cause. If you cannot live up to or don't want to live up to, that doesn't mean that you are a bad assistant. It doesn't mean that you're a
yeah,
bad person, but you are not the person for our team,
Hmm.
yeah.
right? And we try to get people who fit in the team,
Hmm.
and that
Yeah,
works
but
best.
I think that's one of the things that we talk a lot here in the podcast. I mean, there's a lot of strategies in terms of managing people and placing systems and whatever. But I think the most important thing, it really is not about the things that you do, the outer game. It's really about your inner game, how you feel about yourself, the small details. I mean, treating respectfully. Sometimes it's not even about the money. Treating someone with respect, telling them the truth, not telling lies. No, I think that these basic concepts, like these hardcore basic concepts, are being sometimes forgotten for some more superficial marketing strategies or NLP or stuff like that. While the basis has been invented millions and millions ago. Just be a good person, an honest, authentic person. I mean, if you do that, you're halfway there. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
I was searching here my Instagram stories because there's something that I would like you to. I love this sentence. Basically, you know the Zephyr song from Red Hot Chili Peppers, the Zephyr song,
Yeah.
which is very melodic, very nice, and there's some parts there. There's a part with the guitar of the what's the name of the guitarist that came back again? Frusciante.
You had Josh
No,
Klinghoffer
no,
was
John
the
Frusciante.
other John
Frusciante. He's just
Frusciante.
an amazing player.
Yeah.
And that melodic part of the guitar, I really love that. And Red Hot is not one of my favorite, but there's something about that song that I could hear the loop of that chord of that solo guitar like for days and days. And there's a YouTube video that from them playing live in I think it's in Ireland, and there's this comment, someone comment there. It's an unknown guy, but he said this. I get high listening to this miracle of nature that popped out of the screen and invade my mind with hallucinogenous figures and sweet sounds from the first minutes of the rising sun when all the creatures wake up and bond their souls with the sun. And it's like that music said that without words. And the guy is unknown. And I've always copied this to a file that I have, and I always remember this sentence because it really is all about the emotion that a certain combination of notes in a certain way does to your body and to your mind. And that really fascinates me because there really is no explanation for that, which is something really magical.
It it is right, and that's the. I'm not sure if we will ever understand it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is also the nice part.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same goes with healthcare. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's we are doing this integrated project, right? And I'm learning a lot of stuff about vitamin levels, mineral levels, how to monopolize bone morphology within implantology and ortho. And the more I learn about this stuff, like the more I'm thinking, oh, I have no clue like what we are doing.
Mm-hmm.
The same goes with music, right? It has been out there forever. Still, we cannot explain why some chords will or will not work.
Mm-hmm.
And for classical music, you can. There's a really nice book, Musicophilia, which explains like basic melodies and how people can like for babies. It's really good to play
Mm-hmm.
Mozart,
Mhm.
right? Because of their education and trying to train their listening,
Mm-hmm.
etc. But we don't know exactly why,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. I love
Yeah.
that.
So it really is amazing.
Okay, just to finish our conversation, you have a lot going on. So clinical practice, Karma, you're a speaker, you give
Yeah.
courses, you have a band, you have a family, kids. Work-life balance. So it's something that dentists struggle with. Does it exist, work-life balance? I mean,
Yeah, yeah, it does. It does. Like
how do you do it?
every
How
time
do you do it?
well, every time you think you have it under control, it fails horribly. Now that's what really works for me is two things. Well, first of all, the first one we have discussed already is being authentic, just to do what you
Yeah.
want and be yourself. And the second one I learned from my younger brother is to say
Yes,
no.
of course.
Boundaries, yeah.
Like say no.
Mhm.
It's the most important thing that we have to learn in our generation is to say no. There's so much stuff out there. There's so many parties to attend. There's so many fashion that you want to wear. There's so many cars that you want to drive, but you have to say no because at one point it's enough, right? It's good. And when I started giving courses, I was saying yes to everybody. Like if you, and I found myself sometimes in a room filled with people who are just not listening to your story. They are just sitting there with a telephone, and I was just thinking to myself, oh, why the hell am I doing this, right? Because obviously these people are not interested in my story. My girlfriend is at home, and actually I want to go home and sit on the chair, grab a bottle of wine with my girlfriend. So why am I doing this? And I started saying no to the things that I felt deep inside. That's the key issue, I think. You have to feel inside. No, I don't want to do this. If you feel don't want to do this, don't do it,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes you miss out, but most of the times you will say to yourself, "I'm glad I didn't do it."
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that got me more beautiful stuff actually, because that means that the things that you are doing, you have so much more focus on. You have time to prepare yourself well. You have all the time and attention in the world to do it right.
Yeah.
And the same goes with dental procedures. I love to have more time for my dental procedures. I always finish early. And I love that because there's nobody like in your back and the hand say, okay, you have to finish now because
Mm-hmm.
the other person is waiting. Like I have a very relaxed schedule. And I think that's the only way to find any kind of balance with young kids, with a girlfriend, with everything that you are doing in your 30s. And it's really hard and difficult, and I fail all the time. But this gives me the most comfort I can get, I think.
Mm-hmm. It's something that I'm trying to, when I have dentists colleagues coming to me and asking about work-life balance, I try to explain that it's not like it's all about a dance of conscious choices. So you have to be very intentional, and you have to make choices that serves you better. Because I think that sometimes people think it's like a goal. Okay, if I do this, it's going to be like, and I will have balance forever. But no, you are always dancing, because it's a lot of things happening. It's like you said, it goes well until it's not. So you always have to be very aware that it's your choices, and you have to make choices that serve you better. And if you have that connection that you mentioned, if you have that connection with yourself, if you have the awareness of what you enjoy doing, what bring you energy instead of bringing you down, then you start making small choices, and it gets easier to say that no, because the in the beginning, it's sometimes it's difficult to say the no. So you think there's a lot of fear of missing out nowadays. Like you said, there's a lot of
Yeah,
things
yeah,
to
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
But I think it has a lot to do with an ongoing process of choices. So it's not a goal to achieve. It's you getting into a dance, but knowing that you can have fun, and that your choices will serve you better.
And you know what? One of the books that I love most, besides Simon Sinek's Start With Why, is The Simple Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Yes,
You know
yeah.
that book?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
For
yeah,
beautiful.
from
Yeah,
Mark
right? Because it's so
Ronson.
true.
yeah,
And we are dentists. We're not God, right? I know a lot of dentists who think they are God, but they are not. Right? They are certainly not.
yeah.
Um, but for some reason, it's the mindset and the drive of competition that you see on Instagram a lot. That's putting dentistry in a kind of a bad place, I
Yes,
think.
I agree with you.
And just like I'm a dentist, not, and I love guitar players, but I'm foremost a father,
Hmm.
and I think I'm a nice friend to my friends and my surroundings. That's the most important part. My work is I'm a dentist. That's what I do for work, right? And I love my work, and it becomes sometimes it is a hobby. Well, most of the time it's a hobby actually. But still, you have to make sure that that stays in perspective, because otherwise you will lose in it. And we see so many people um, doing too much hours and doing it for the wrong reasons,
Hmm.
and that's exactly what we try to change with Karma, right? To be realistic and to be relaxed, take time, slow down, do it right, but also look to your surroundings. Right? There's more than life than molars. And like it's a very small world here. Like if you're looking in a patient's mouth, it's a very very small world. There's a way bigger world out there. Go out there and go explore it. It's beautiful.
Hmm.
So we try to give this to younger dentists as well. Don't go work 6 days in a clinic and work your ass off. Just do what you need to do with a lot of fun, with a lot of love and empathy. Try to help the people around you, and basically you have a lot of fun with it. That's the whole point, I think.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. And I have to say thank you, Jasper, because you were the first one supporting my mindfulness course. My mindfulness course is in the Karma platform. I'm very honored and proud of that. But I still remember when the first, when you, because I reached out to you introducing my work and my mindfulness course, and I still remember your email, the email that you replied saying, yeah, I would love to talk to you. Mindfulness is one of the cornerstones of our work. I would love to hear about your work." And you were always very supportive of my work. So I have to thank you for that. And it was a great pleasure and a great conversation, Andre.
Yes, I loved meeting you, Jasper. I think that your interview is a great fit for the podcast, because I think that there's a lot of things that me and Manuela share in terms of the same values, that really you are not the center of the universe, and it's very easy for dentists to believe that. And I like your expression. There's more than life than molars, and that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
You know what? The honor was all mine, and I think that. So I think we are
Yeah.
actually all talking for 1 hour 30. We can do this for evenings long, but then we have to get some bottle of wines into it.
Thank you so much for your time, Jasper, and I'll meet you soon on the 1st of July. We're going to be together. Looking forward for it. And
absolutely, we look really forward to seeing you in the clinic.
Okay, so Jasper, if you ever want to come to Portugal, just let me know. I live here in the north. Portugal is the place to be in Europe for now. You want to take some days off?
I will put it on the travel list. I know my girlfriend really wants to go to Portugal. So
Portugal is a lovely country to spend a few days, even to live. Even to live.
Go. I will.
Okay, Jasper.
Okay,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for everyone that listened. It was a real pleasure. Thank you.